So it looks like the minority are not going to allow this to slide, and you intend to keep this on the front burner for as long as you can.
Oh, I think it's all about the effect on our cost of energy, particularly fuel.
Okay.
And the fact that as a government who had promised the good people of Ghana not to use taxes to pay for the inefficiencies in the energy sector, will turn around and do exactly what it had promised. This promise came from our own finance minister to Forcing in March 15 thereabout, where he was looking at the energy crisis or the cost of energy. And he said that ECG, amongst other energy service providers, were inefficient and that government was not going to use any levy to pay for it. But most importantly, we've had a government which had been in power prior before coming to power. They knew the state of our energy situation. When they came to power, they had the books. John Jinapo as energy minister, the minister of finance, they knew all the energy burden. And yet they came with a State of the Nation address by the president and then the budget in March. And they never made mention of the fact that there was a crisis situation that they needed to introduce a levy. And then, so the difficulty is, when did government take that policy decision to impose a levy of that magnitude on Ghanaians? And when government took that decision, didn't they see any need to engage the Ghanaian people? Because this is about taxes.
Right.
When you talk about efficiency of taxes, you should at least engage the people and let the people be aware of your intention so that broader consultation will lead to some constructive opinions or suggestions which will better situate even the levy that you want to pass. We've been in Parliament on a fateful day. It wasn't even advertised in our order paper, never mentioned at the business committee meeting, and then late afternoon, the minister walks into the House of Parliament and then brings an addendum. And that addendum is that we want to impose a levy under a certificate of urgency. And then within 6 hours, the Finance Committee and Energy Committee has to go in caucus. And all the comments and concerns that we passed, even at that level, no government official took it into consideration. And then we come before the House of Parliament and then we pass it. Look at the effect of it. They are talking about raising 5.7 billion cedis for the support of the energy sector, even the inconsistencies as to what they are using the levy for. At one breath, the president is saying we are using it to pay for arrears of energy. And then another breath, the Minister for Energy is saying that we don't have liquefied petroleum gas, and that is fuel, and that is what we need money for. So there's so much contradiction in terms of the intentions of government. So on what basis are we going to measure government? This is not the first time the levy has been imposed. We had it at 95 pesos per litre. Why would you do an additional 1 Ghana cedi? So in effect, we have imposed 195 pesos, 1 cedi 95 pesos per litre. The Chamber of Oil Marketers have complained that the build-up of government levies alone constitutes about 26% of the cost of fuel. We have this cedi appreciation, which is giving us some fiscal space. People have provided opinions that when you look at the cost build-up from PURC, even that difference, that fall of appreciation of cedi, gives room for government to have allowed the cost of electricity to stay, so that this whole amount that we are looking for would be paid for by the electricity consumers. And then here we are. Government has imposed this 8% levy. You said you were going to take away 2 billion out of e-levy to save Ghanaians. Mahama Yaga said, we have given back to the Ghanaian people 2 billion. And here you are taking back from the Ghanaian people 5.7 billion. Is that robbing Peter to pay Paul and even doubling up the punishment on the good people of Ghana? So from the part of the minority, we are of the considered opinion that government has been disingenuous. We are saying that government has not been truthful to the good people of Ghana. We are saying even in the law, we have even made mention of sunset clauses. You cannot impose a levy of that nature without giving the people the benefits of knowing for how long. How long are we going to pay the levy? Even when it comes to now, you are talking about the cost of fuel at 12 cedis. And so even if you impose 1 Ghana cedi and it comes to 13, it's better than where we came from, 15. Are you saying that it is never going to go up again? So when it gets to 15, are you going to drop the 1 Ghana cedi from it? All of these are not available in the legal framework. And so it is in bad taste. It is not something that, and then the effect, the collateral effect, they talk about 1%, 1 Ghana cedi, but the implementers of that law are saying that there are other costs that comes to the additional 1 Ghana cedi, because the lifters of fuel, they go to the market and buy. They use bank collaterals. They have to take money from the bank and they pay interest. And so they are going to compute their charges, additional charges. And that's going to increase the levy from 1 cedi to in the range of 1.3 to 1.5 Ghana cedis. And so all the gains, all the noise that we made about the drop of fuel, was it a matter of just talking about it, giving people the benefit to know, and then coming back in less than 2 weeks or 1 month to come and impose this levy on the good people of Ghana? We are of the considered opinion that government could have done better. We've offered alternative. You know the IPPs we are talking about. They were signed by government within 2013 to 2016. And they promised that they were going to engage the independent power. We did it during our time, but we couldn't achieve much. These are people that they knew. They had contracted them based on the challenges that we had at that time. And they said they are going to further engage them. Why don't they engage them? Why don't let them come up with very realistic tariffs that will inure to the benefits of the Ghanaian people, and then impose, and 1 Ghana cedi per liter, even if it was 1 cedi per gallon, that would have made some considerable sense. But to do 1 cedi per liter, a liter of 4.5 liters to a gallon, and you are imposing an additional 4.5 Ghana cedis. Look at the effect on cost. And the transport union people are talking about it. Food that we are trying to use this cedi appreciation to try and moderate and see if inflation can drop and food prices can drop. Now, what is the justification in asking transport fares to further reduce when transport fares are likely from the transport unions based on this levy to be reconsidered upwards? So there are so many implications of this, and I think in as much as we all agree that the energy debt has to be looked at, in as much as we all agree that government should come up with mechanisms to address them, we don't think that the approach the government took was in good faith. We thought that clandestinely coming under a certificate of agency avoided the opportunity for Ghanaians to deliberate on it. It didn't give Ghanaian people the options to give government alternative suggestions. And when you rule under such conditions, I think it doesn't speak well of us as political group. It doesn't speak well of the government. But what I'm saying from the minority point is that whether we like it or not, the law has been passed. Okay. And so it is our responsibility to follow through and make sure that the ills of yesterday, where we collected the same levy but didn't use it for the intended purposes, this time we are going to ensure that we pay off these legacy debts, we buy all the liquefied petroleum gases, but we make sure that we also take advantage of this cedi appreciation to adjust the tariffs at the PURC. Yesterday, we had some engagement with some oil company, and they are saying they signed an agreement with government of Ghana. We buy gas at $3. And then now they even want to further reduce it. And yet, government signed an agreement with ENI at a cost of $7. All of these are burdens that we impose on ourselves. And then at the end of the day, it creates a debt, and we turn around and impose that same liability on the good people of Ghana. Mm-hmm. And so it is not good enough, but we take it in good stride. I will appeal to the Ghanaian people to remain calm. I've heard of some demonstrations that are supposed to be embarked. I believe that people have a right to express their displeasure about such gargantuan levy. In the history of Ghana, we've never had this 8% increase in our tax build up by any government at a go. And I think the government should listen, have a revision of the amount involved so that the Ghanaian people can have some fair and good space to breathe as we recover from all the economic hardships that we've been through.
Okay.